It's with mixed emotions that I announce this afternoon I'm stepping down as president of Paducah Community College.
Joining us today is one of the leaders of one of the most successful community colleges in the UK system. Dr. Don Clemens, who has recently announced to be stepping down as president, joins us today. Thank you, Dr. Clemens.
Good morning, Mark.
Who happens also to be my father, by the way, so that makes it kind of a unique experience for me. I guess we'd like to first begin with how you decided to come to PCC and your decisions leading up to that.
Well, I finished graduate school in 1964 and accepted a position at Murray State University. And that was a particular time when the federal government entered the picture of funding educational programs. And I was asked by the president of Murray State University, Dr. Ralph Woods, to visit Paducah and see if they could qualify for a federal grant.
When you first came to Paducah Community College, Dr. Clemens, you didn't hold the position of president. Would you like to expand on your role with the institution when you first came here?
Yes, I think I mentioned to you a moment ago that the Higher Education Act had been funded, and I was asked to come up to look to see if Paducah Junior College could qualify. I felt they could. I was asked to write the grant, and then Dr. Ralph Woods, who was president of Murray State University at that time, sent me up on loan as a consultant to work with the institution. While I was here, Dr. R.G. Madison asked me to join the institution and serve as academic dean. I became academic dean in 1966 and served as academic dean to 1968.
The late 60s, when you became involved with PCC, there were very turbulent times around the nation. Would you like to expand a little bit about that and also your role as president of PCC?
Certainly. In 1968, I became president, and that was in the middle of the Vietnam War. It was a very difficult time, I think, for everyone, not only presidents but students, because they were faced with either attending school or fighting in the Vietnam War. But I found it very exciting because it gave me the opportunity to work with students more closely, and I had to really feel the pulse and the thoughts of students. So I think that time was a very demanding time for presidents of institutions.
What were some of the tough decisions that you had to make during that period?
I guess the most difficult decision I had to make was when a student had academic probation problems or was on the verge of failing, and his other choice was being drafted by the service and sent to Vietnam. So when a student would come to me, and quite often the parent would come with a student and request for me to admit that student, it was very, very difficult. I had to consider the past record of the student, and if I felt that there was an opportunity for the student, a second chance would help the student or would just continue a series of failures. It was very difficult for me because I was faced with the reality of one, the easy way would be go ahead and readmit him, but that would have been harmful to him in terms of his future because it would just be an opportunity to fail again. The other choice was sending him to Vietnam. So it was very, very tough, and it was hard, I think, for all people in my job that had to decide about the life and future of an individual, possibly versus his death.
Also in 1968, with you becoming president, there were a few changes here on the campus. Would you like to discuss that?
When we became part of the community college system, we had a name change from Paducah Junior College to Paducah Community College. And another significant change and a unique part of this contract was that the PJC Board of Trustees retained ownership to the property and the buildings. And the University of Kentucky agreed to operate the educational programs. And all the employees of Paducah Junior College became employees of Paducah Community College of the University of Kentucky. That was quite different than most mergers. Usually everything was given to the new owner or the new operator, which was the University of Kentucky. But it provided an opportunity for us that all of our students have gained from that moment on, and are gaining and get the benefits from today, and I think makes us a little bit special.
The Lillian Lowery Performing Arts Series, one of the most important enrichment programs offered here at PCC. Could you discuss the beginnings of that?
Mark, Lillian Lowery was one of the nicest, most competent, caring individuals I think I've ever met. I first met Lillian Lowery when she was teaching at Murray State University, and asked her to come to Paducah on a part-time basis to teach a class, English class at night. She was also advisor to our newspaper. She also headed up our advancement center. She also was a public relations person, and all in a period of time of possibly 8 years. Lillian Lowery retired to take care of Dr. Sig Lowery, who at that time had retired from Murray State as head of the history department, and passed away at a young age. The program, as you mentioned, our focus program, was started by Lillian. She was the first chairperson of that program, and the faculty were so wanted to honor her as a person and as a record, asked for the program be named in her honor.
The decision to end your basketball program, I know that was probably a difficult one to make.
That probably was one of the toughest decisions I guess I made during my tenure at Paducah Community College. And it was not one that was made in a moment. There was a lot of soul searching, a lot of thought-provoking discussions with the athletic committee, and of course with the total board over the years. But since the people were not coming to the basketball games, they were not supporting the program, it was very difficult for the Board of Trustees with the other priorities to continue to fund a program that wasn't utilized. So with that background, I felt compelled to start talking with the athletic committee. It was their consensus, my recommendation to the board, to eliminate intercollegiate basketball. Of course, we've kept baseball and we've kept the minor sports, and we are still an intercollegiate athletic institution offering programs, but not the most expensive one, which is basketball.
The campus itself has grown too, with the addition of a fine arts building. Would you like to tell us what that entails, and how has that complemented the rest of PCC?
We developed a master plan back in the early 70s. And in that master plan, of course, were the educational programs and the facilities to house these programs. The late 60s and early 70s indicated to us that we didn't have any place for our students, a student lounge, for example, a student activity area, anything to provide for our students between classes or in the morning or afternoon, an opportunity for them to relax and meet with their fellow students. So this came about mainly by practicability, by something being more practical, the Fine Arts Student Center. And in that was programmed, as you mentioned, our TV facility. And we envisioned the TV of broadcasting locally produced plays, which we've done. And this is very unique and I think educationally sound and good for the community that we can have a TV studio behind a theater. So these things came about in a very long planning period. We planned this building for 10 years before we could receive funding for it. So we meet the needs of vocational needs, such as the fine arts, such as our television program, and also our student center.
You use the term marketable. What is PCC doing to attract students in that area?
The term marketable is a little bit commercial, but yet it's a term we all live with and deal with. The way I define marketable is presenting our story, the PCC story, to the community. And the best way of presenting our story is by presenting our faculty. We have some of the best teachers in the country. I think we have one of the best faculties of any community college in the United States. They're highly qualified, and most important, they're dedicated to the student.
With the emergence of interactive television, what other delivery systems in the future do you see for Paducah Community College?
The teacher role will change, I think, in the future. The teacher will not be dealing as an imparter or giver of information. Computers and the thing you just referred to, and that is distance learning activities. Information will be coming from different parts of the world. It'll be brought in first to the classroom, and we're doing this now in teleconferencing. And I think eventually that the individual will be able to sit in his own home and turn his TV on and receive a program, an educational program. And then I feel he will come to a college campus and meet with a teacher in a smaller group than a traditional classroom. So the teacher's role of providing information and facts, I think, will change. But how the student digests, how he or she uses that information will be the teacher's role in the future. So I think distance learning activities such as we think of now of television will offer junior and senior courses from institutions maybe in Nebraska and will be brought into Paducah. I think we're building a facility that will house state-of-the-art in television classrooms that has technology and has equipment that can receive this kind of distance learning activity.
We've discussed the future plans of PCC. What are the plans of Don Clemens?
I hope it's as exciting as the past 25 years. At the present time, I can be more specific and give you more direct answers about the future of education than I can about the future of Don Clemens. I haven't made those kind of decisions yet. I am, in my particular life, free to do whatever I want to do. I'm not going to be forced to live in a particular place for any personal reason. So the opportunities are out there. There are several things I would like to do. I don't think it will be anything like what I'm doing now. I think that I need to do something different for Don Clemens, as well as I think the institution needs someone else beside my leadership.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today to talk to us, and we appreciate it. And good luck in the future.
Well, it's been a unique pleasure for me, one being interviewed by such a talented individual, especially since he's my son. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.